So one of my favorite characters of all time on television was Ari Gold from the show Entourage. And it wasn't because he was super duper funny. It wasn't because the acting was so good that people actually confused him in real life for the real life Ari Gold. For me, what it was that he wielded his power well, but at the same time, he also acknowledged where he didn't have power, and he acknowledged that there is levels to this game. And to me, that is the perfect sweet spot to be in, is to wield the power that you do have at the highest level in a good way, in a healthy way, in a way that contributes to other people, and is win-win with other people, not ever win-lose. But at the same time, you got to recognize that there's levels to this. So Ari, for example, he would be this head agent. It's a really, really powerful agent. He'd run an agency, or I think at one point he even ran Paramount Studios in the show or something like that. And you'd see him as this agent, or as this mega agent, or as this producer, this really high-level guy. And he would wield he would get everything done that he wants. I mean, he always had a solution to everything. Amazing lateral thinker. But what would happen is that people would come and ask him for things, and when it was something beyond that which he could do, he'd be like, Eric, Vince, don't you get it? This guy controls this. This person controls this. We're screwed. There's nothing we could do. We got to think outside the box, right? Like, he would admit that there's levels of power. And the beauty of that is that when you admit that there's levels to this game, on one hand, you can wield your power at a very high level that you do have, but on another level, you could acknowledge that there's levels to this. And then what winds up happening is that you wind up rising up to that level. So what it is this massive dose of reality. And there was another favorite scene of mine with Ari Gold. I'll tell you this other one that I really like. Turtle, a character from the show, he comes in and he says, Ari, I gotta borrow you. And he's like, I gotta tell you something. I wanna make it. I wanna be somebody. I wanna build my own business. And Ari says, Turtle, why do you wanna build your own business? You're in with Vince. Like just wear the crown, buddy. What are you doing? And Turtle's like, no, I want my own thing. I wanna make it. And he's like, Turtle, do you know what it takes to make it? Lloyd, get in here. So Lloyd, his assistant, comes in, brings him in, and he says, how many scripts did you read that last night? And Lloyd just pulls out like stacks of scripts. And he's like, oh, I read this one. He's like, reciting the stories. He's like, look at this. This is ungodly. That's what it takes to make it.
I just think it's time for me to make something of myself.
Turtle, do you know what it takes to make something of yourself? I mean, come on. I worked a job through college and grad school. Lloyd!
Yes, Mr. Gold.
Hit the stack.
In front of people, I am not performing.
The Kingdom of Foibles.
The Kingdom of Foibles, written by Karen Brown. A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court meets Die Hard. A man awakes in the midst of the crusade.
This man can quote from the entire stack. That is what he's willing to put in for his own success. He's paying his dues. When have you paid yours?
I'm willing to pay him now, and I have a great idea.
So do all these idiots. Can you execute it?
I think I can.
In this life, no one is going to invest because you think you can. Do you have a business plan?
No, I mean, I haven't sat down and put...
What do you need? Office space, insurance, how many employees? What do you project to earn? What do you need to break even? At what point can your investors see some profit?
I don't know.
Look, when my son was born, my greatest fear was having this conversation. I knew that I would give him anything he wanted because he was my son, and I couldn't say no, which sucks, because it wouldn't help him, and he'd just end up on the street doing heroin with the two Corys because I was too much of a to teach him a lesson. I won't make that mistake with you. Just say no.
I could pull this off, Ari.
Come back to me when you can prove it.
For somebody who is actually acknowledging a reality, they will realize that there is levels to this game. And people that are playing at the highest levels have engaged in mental savagery past the point that you can even understand. They have a laser-like focus past the point that you can even understand. They have a connection to their outcome past anything that you can remotely understand. They have taken this to levels that you don't even have a context for. They are preemptively seeing problems as they come that you don't know exist. And so you watch a society of people that largely get off on saying that they're victimized, get off on saying that they don't have opportunity, and so on and so forth. And what you realize is there's levels to this that they can't even acknowledge. First of all, they're not wielding the power that they do have at a high level. Like Ari, he saw the power that he did have, and he knew how to use it to create win-wins to help other people. But I mean, the show's got many examples. There's perhaps counter examples that I forgot of, bad examples. I'm not blanket condoning the whole character. He did bad things too. But in general, understood where the power was and to add to his friends and his family and his wife and his kids. But then from there, just understood there's levels to this game. And then here's the key. The key is that by understanding that there's levels to this game, you begin to seek out those other levels, right? So the problem with Turtle, when he comes, he's like, I'm going to make it, is that he himself has not acknowledged that there's another level. It's not even real to Turtle that you could sit up and read 1,000 pages in a night. Maybe not perfectly, but you go through to understand, right? That is not reality to Turtle. So he thinks, I'm going to make it. Now, in the show, Turtle does make it. It's actually a beautiful show. It's very positive. So actually why I like the show. But in real life, here's what I've seen. In my life, my general experience has been, there's all these different people who I've met over the years, and they'll come to me and they'll see what I'm doing. And they're like, I think I'm gonna like make it, right? Like I can make it too, right? And I'm like, no, you're not gonna make it because you don't understand that there's levels to this game. You don't understand what it would take to get to this point, and you don't take it seriously. You're an insult to the game. You don't get it, right? And then you're sitting there playing the victim and finding all these people to blame but yourself, and here's the reason why. The idea of not acknowledging the levels to the game, that there's levels to this, is basically a defensive posturing, okay? It's not thriving, it's really just a coping mechanism. Here's why it's coping. So we're gonna we've kind of covered this, and we're gonna zoom out. So there's this thing which I talked about before. It's called the winner effect. And basically what it is that human beings, we tend to get dopamine based on how we feel compared to other people. So if we feel like people are better than us, then that actually lowers our dopamine. And then sometimes it can even make it where we get so depressed about it that it actually makes it hard to learn. It's a really, really big problem that people have. So in a thriving position, you have enough base of confidence to acknowledge that there's levels to this game. You have enough base of confidence to acknowledge that. And then what you do is that from that standpoint, you don't let it hurt you. You actually allow it to inspire you and to excite you, and then you get to that level. So you like finding out that there's people above your level because you know that you can model and copy them. In a coping-based position, you're constantly like, basically disacknowledging the kind of work and hustle that would go into creating something truly beautiful. You're disacknowledging that because it hurts you too much. And you're like, well, maybe someday I could make it, right? Yeah, maybe someday I could. But the problem is because you've been in a coping pattern for so long and you don't understand what the next level is, you don't even really know what good is. You don't have a context for that. So what winds up happening, because you don't have a context for what good is, you wind up disrespecting the game, disrespecting yourself, and really just being a clown to anybody who's playing at a higher level. So what relevance does this have socially right now as well? What I have seen is that in general, in society right now, people are looking at those that are winning, and in many cases what they do is they seek them out and they seek to cut them down. Now, by the way, another nuance here, if you're part of the establishment, then you're allowed to be a winner because there's this kind of sub-dom relationship between the elites and the masses. So if you're like a chosen one by the establishment and you are chosen and plucked up by them, then it's okay that you're winning. But if you're somebody who is actually self-reliant, and picked yourself up by your bootstraps, so to speak, and you just took action, you acknowledge that there's levels to this game, you acknowledge that there's people better than you did still wield the power that you have, so you're still super duper confident in yourself, like Ari, but then what you did from there was that you studied those other levels. What winds up happening is that, yeah, a lot of people, they just target others doing that, and you wind up getting this kind of human cancer on Earth that the people that are producing the money, the people that are producing the jobs, the people that are producing the value, it's like cancer cells that come in and wind up pulling away from that, and you can watch entire countries explode. So if you want to understand the effects of this socially, here's the best way that I could put it to you. There was an ex-KGB agent named Yuri Bezmenov, and he did these famous interviews in the 80s where he explained that a KGB agent, which is kind of like the, kind of like the Secret Service, but from Russia. A KGB agent is not this sort of James Bond persona with a gun, out swashbuckling and having adventures and doing shoot-'em-ups. Actually, most KGB agents were using ideological warfare. And what they're doing is planting a sort of ideological cancer inside of the country that they want to see implode from within. So I want you to think about this similar to an animal out in nature, right? Let's think of a country as similar to an animal out in nature. An animal is at risk of, say, getting killed by a predator, right? That's a little bit like a hot war when you get killed by, by a predator, right? It's like a direct confrontation with another animal. It can get killed by that. It can also get killed by making mistakes. It can also get killed by competition, right? There's other animals that come and compete for the same resources and it can't eat anymore. But it can also get killed by mold and rot and viruses and disease, a sort of festering rot. So if you're another country, say you're Russian, you want to destroy somewhere. I'm not claiming this about Russia now, but I'm just saying at the time when Yuri Bezmenov was around, if you want to destroy, and I don't know enough about now, but if you want to destroy another country, you don't need to make some crazy hot war and like blow the country up and create nuclear winter. All that you have to do is just put the ideological cancer into that country. what is the ideal, and basically just rots from within, it collapses from within. It's a much easier way to do it. What is that ideological warfare? The ideological warfare is you put it in the heads of the people in the country that, no, it's not that there's levels to this. It's just that there's like these people that are eating the finite, there's like a finite pie, and then there's people that are eating those resources. And so they're not sharing the resources because they're greedy. And I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but they just emphasize this. And so because of that, it's not your fault at all. There's no other level that you could learn from. Just go take their stuff, right? And so rather than growing the pie, right? Rather than the pie being grown by people that are adding value, creating jobs, building businesses, and working hard. That's what value comes from: hard work, strategy, efficiency, things like that. No, don't worry about those other levels than that you're not partaking in. Just go take from them because they did this to you. And once you put that rot into society, you have a combination of a lot of derping and people that are numb. And then what happens is that you get this kind of sub-dom relationship between the elites and the masses, where the elites play the doms and the masses play the sub. And you have to understand, once that starts happening, well, then it's okay if the elites get pulled up and they get things. Oh, that's fine, because that's like our we're kind of like the it's like a prison dom, right? And you're the prison sub, and it's like they're gonna put it in you, and it's okay because the person protecting you, right? So they're protecting me from my safety issues and from getting taken advantage of and things like that, but I'm gonna let him put it in, but at least it's the only person that puts it in. It's really even not that bad, and it kind of tickles and kind of feels good in some ways, right? And they have my best interest at heart. Of course they do, right? So that's what winds up happening. And so you get to the point where somebody who's super famous, because of the establishment, they're not gonna really get hassled that much. Oh, now here's the best part though. Sometimes the establishment even sacrifices them to make an example. That's quite hilarious as well. They do that too. But generally they're protected, right? They align ideologically. Look, the main thing with somebody that gets pulled up by the elites is they are, ideally loud, prolific, and don't ask questions. Right? That's what it's loud, prolific, don't ask questions. They just espouse the values that they're told to say. They spew them out. They don't even understand them. These are not people that are deep enough. There's not enough going on in their minds for them to have come up with these ideas themselves. They have basically just figured out that is what supports me if I align with that ideologically. There's a lack of a core essence there. They're being run by the physical intelligence of the body. That body wants, goods and services. It wants to survive and reproduce. So the body's intelligence takes over. You actually can snuff out the essence largely. And what happens, that person's just asleep. Okay, you just put him to sleep. So it's literally like a stormtrooper type mentality. These are humans. All human life is valuable. But it's a stormtrooper type of mentality. It resembles that, even though it's a human being who has value in life. And so what winds up happening, okay, I'm saying that because some people might hear them and be like, it's a stormtrooper. No, everybody has value in life. Make sure everybody is safe. Make sure everybody's taken care of. Value all life. Find win-wins. But I'm just saying that it creates that kind of mentality where if you're somebody who wants real power, you can make boss moves, right? Like you can do boss moves where you put a cancer inside of a society and they eat off of each other like a cancer. So all the people producing the values get crushed. You can do things like hijacking people's consciousness, just hijacking it. And, you're like Darth Vader with the Stormtrooper army, because basically what you have is you're reproducing a bunch of people who lack that connection to their core essence. They have a core essence, but they've been disconnected from it. If you imagine kind of like an aura or something like that, it's been kind of pulled out here. It's afraid to go back inside. And so they're being run by the physical intelligence. And what winds up happening is that they could just get them to become a mouthpiece. They get other people to become a mouthpiece. And you basically just got a world of people that are traumatized, trying to stay dumb, trying to stay on autopilot, trying to be told what to do by a dom, and not realize there's another level, right? And not able to own the power that they do have to build themselves up. So that was kind of what I was getting to with this whole idea of Ari Gold, why I liked his character, was that he recognized the power that he did have, and he had swagger with it, right? Recognize the power that you have and have swagger with it. Have some swag with what you do have. I'm not the most powerful person, but I try to carry a little bit of swagger with whatever I do have. You're not the most powerful person, but carry some real swag with what you do have. Then what you want to do is you want to be always seeking out that next level, realizing that there's levels of focus, levels of clarity, levels of skill sets, levels of research, levels of drive, levels of mentors that you can find, levels of dedication that you haven't accessed yet. And the people that you might be frustrated by, don't be frustrated by them. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Get your head in the game. Because when you can't acknowledge what other people are doing, you are blind to that next level. And all of a sudden, you're easily able to be put in that dub-som dynamic between the elites and the masses. You wind up getting put in that, and you wind up getting disconnected from your essence, and you wind up losing your soul. Own the power that you have now. Recognize what that means. Love that power you have now. look for the next level. Don't let it lower your win effect that there's a next level. Look for it, find those great mentors, and figure out what lies beyond. If you want to go deeper, I do free events all over the country. I do huge cities like Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, San Francisco. I do them all the time. I also like to do medium-sized cities. I've got, Philadelphia, Boston, DC, Seattle coming up, Miami, Dallas, Houston, Austin. I like to do Honolulu. I often do cities like Vegas or Phoenix. I really go all over the place. And I got a team of people just like me, and they go all over the place, and they're going everywhere. They're all over Europe. They're all over the world. So if you want to see what we're doing, I've got a bunch of events coming up. Latest ones, Philly, New York, Seattle, but I got a bunch coming up. Click the link below, whatever city that you're in, figure out where I am, and come and see me in person. And I'm gonna take you through a very, very special process that I spent 2 decades building, where you're gonna sit down and get very, very focused, and whatever it is that you want, health, wealth, relationship, higher purpose, your dreams, your life, your skills, your momentum, your expansion, your ascension, your connection to that which is beyond. There's a process I'm gonna take you through. Give me a couple hours, I'm gonna take you through that process, leave you a changed person for the rest of your life. You can have the most fun you've ever had. Do it live, it's so beautiful. Come and fly in, do it live. I do free events all over the country. I love to do it. I also wind up sending you a completely free course, taking you through all the powerful fundamentals that for me are at this point unconscious competence, but it scares me that you might not know them. It's gonna go very, very deep on those topics that I just told you. So go sign up right now, click the link below, come and meet me. And lastly, for any reason you couldn't come and meet me right now, or if you've already even signed up, we also do a free phone call that can take you through that same process, one-on-one with the team that I built. Click the link below, sign up for the free phone call, and we'll wind up shooting you over that foundational free course. You can click the link below, meet in person, do the call, get in the course. You're gonna have so much fun. I cannot wait for you to see that next level. I wanna be the one to show it to you. That's kind of my enjoyment. That's kind of my little bit of swag. I wanna be the person to show you that next level. I wanna be the person to take you by the hand, walk you past the smoke and wreckage of all the crap that we talked about here, and right to the promised land. Point A to point B as fast as possible for what you want. Excited to help you, excited to meet you, excited to work with you, excited for us to grow together. Anyway, I'm actually headed back to Los Angeles. I'm gonna do a little spin here, and you can actually just see a bit of where we've been. This is Big Sur. You can even shoot the camera over there to wrap it up. It's been an amazing, amazing couple days out here in Big Sur. Caught a couple great videos. Hope you enjoyed it. Be back with more soon.